Here we go. All right. Look at this lovely lady in front of me today. Man, what a job I got. God, is this a job? I'm here today with...
Kristen Brown, Vice Mayor in the City of Capitola and candidate for Santa Cruz County Supervisor in District 2.
Boom! End of show. You don't need to know any more than that.
Good to meet you.
Huh? So, how's mayoring in Capitola?
Mayoring?
Mayoring. I call it mayoring.
Yeah. Well, I was mayoring in 2020, and that
Yeah.
was a pretty tough time to be the mayor. We had the pandemic, a lot of our businesses shut down. We were dealing with a lot of the same reckoning around racial disparities and racial justice and equity that a lot of cities across the country were facing in the wake of the murder of George Floyd. It was just a really tough year to be mayor, and then I'm vice mayor this year. I'll be mayor again next year if it's the will of the council. And so it's
you can be mayor and city council and supervisor?
No, so the election for supervisor, the primary election is in March.
Right.
And if no one gets 51% of the vote, it goes to a runoff in November of next year.
Okay.
But even if someone does get 51% of the vote in March, you don't take office until January of 25.
Right.
So I would be mayor all of 2024.
Okay, so you got it covered. You got covered.
Yep.
Let me ask you a question. How long have you been with the city of Capitola?
In the city?
Yeah.
Or
How
on the council?
long have you worked with the city as far as governmental wise?
Yeah, governmental wise. So
How long?
8 years.
Okay. Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
How many meetings do you think you've been to?
Oh.
Guess.
At least just for city council, 2 a month. Every year, so
thousands?
24 a year times 8. Don't make me do math. I
No.
mean, that's some.
So
a lot.
You wanted to throw so Zach, you're going for Zach. It's Zach Friend currently is the supervisor, right? For district,
Yes.
Is it District 3?
District 2.
District 2. Excuse me.
And he's done a great job, and he's chosen not to run again.
Right.
So
And
seat's
so you want to
open.
throw your hat in the ring?
Yes.
Why is that?
I've spent the last 7 years working not just on Capitola City Council, but on other regional decision-making bodies like the Regional Transportation Commission, the Metro Transit District, and the Association of Monterey Bay Area Governments. And these entities look at the big picture issues that are impacting all of the county: housing, transportation, climate change. And so I've seen the bigger picture outside of just what's happening within city limits. And of course, these issues don't just impact within city limits. They're larger scale issues. And so I'm running for supervisor because I want to be a part of finding solutions to these bigger problems that impact the district and our county as a whole. As a 4th generation county resident with a family with a legacy of public service and my 8 years of experience on council and in these regional bodies, my 13 years working in government relations and government affairs.
You got some street cred.
A little bit, I think.
Right? You
Yeah,
got some?
I think so.
Right.
I think I would be able to step into this role and hit the ground running. Already have the relationships. I already have some of the background and knowledge and understanding of kind of how all of these different agencies and entities work together to try to address these problems.
And you have the time to do it. You don't have kids. You're married, but you don't have kids.
Correct.
So you got the time to do it, right?
Yeah.
That's time consuming and a lot of work.
Yeah, it is. It is a lot of work.
And so your District 2 is Aptos, and where does it go to? What's your area? How do you describe your area?
Yeah, it's part of Capitola, pretty
Okay.
much where the creek divides the village.
Okay.
And then everything sort of south of there up until Watsonville Hospital. So it's Capitola, Aptos, Seacliff, Corralitos, Day Valley, and then that sliver of Watsonville.
What's your top 3 things that you have to, if you win? Mm-hmm. Okay, you get your day one. What's the top 3 things that you have to face, that you need to face and deal with being supervisor?
Yeah. So the top 3 issues as I see them are housing, transportation, and climate change. And these seem like big picture issues,
they're
but
huge.
ultimately these are also day-to-day, everyday life impact kind of issues.
Housing, as far as finding low-income housing?
Low-income housing, yeah, zoning for low-income housing.
Is there even room for any more room? Is there more room?
Yeah, so I mean, part of it is just zoning, right? So
Right.
something might right now be zoned a certain way, and you can rezone it so that if a property that currently has a bank on it and that bank shuts down, we can rezone that property so that someone could build housing there, whereas right now it's not zoned for that to happen.
Affordable housing.
Affordable housing, especially, absolutely. And removing kind of some of the barriers to developing affordable housing. different kinds of housing, workforce housing in particular. We need to make sure that the people who are living and working here in our community can afford to stay. So we're talking about firefighters, teachers, service workers. We can't have people needing to move out into places further away from here and commuting in here to work, because that's an issue of quality of life. That's an issue of climate change with the additional greenhouse gas emissions from transportation, and it doesn't help with the congestion issues we already have on Highway 1.
Speaking of congestion, are we going back? Are we going back with the fight with the trail and the rail?
I mean, Measure D, with it not passing, the Measure D in 2022,
Yeah.
Gosh, all the years just kind of blend together now. Anyways, point being, there was the Measure D several years ago that gave us transportation funding for the roads and some of the rail stuff and some of the trail stuff. And then there was the most recent Measure D, which was designed to try to remove planning for passenger rail from the county general plan, which just failed. And so the voters have spoken that they want us to continue planning for passenger rail. I'm on the Regional Transportation Commission.
What do you think about that?
I think the voters spoke. It's time for us to continue to move forward with it.
With the rail?
Yeah. I voted in support of the project concept report a couple months ago, and so that's going to look at kind of how to make this all work, because it goes all the way from Davenport to Watsonville, and it's broken up in segments.
Right.
The EIR for segments 10 and 11 was just recently released this week, and so the comment period is open for that until December. So it's a big undertaking. But that being said, I mean, the way to solve the issues of traffic congestion on Highway 1 is to give people alternatives to single occupancy travel in their cars. And so that means passenger rail service, that means investing in the Metro Transit District, that means the improvements we're making on Highway 1 right now for the bus on shoulder auxiliary lane for Metro to go further than it's ever gone before. Eventually we're looking towards traffic light synchronization on Soquel Drive so the buses can get through quicker there too. So we need alternatives.
Where were you born and raised at?
My family's been here in Santa Cruz County for 4 generations. I'm the only person in my family who wasn't born at Dominican. I was born at Travis Air Force Base in Vallejo because my dad was in the Navy, and that was the closest military
Going back to
hospital.
transportation, I grew up in England, you know, where transportation is rail, buses, taxi.
Yeah.
But it's been ingrained there for many, for generations.
Right.
And it's ingrained there as part of the infrastructure.
Yeah.
And here we're trying to put something in where the infrastructure is not in place.
Well, technically it is. The rail is there. It just needs upgrades and improvements and maintenance. But the rail line is there. It's already a rail corridor.
What's the end game? For example, if you catch a train from Watsonville to downtown Santa Cruz, but you want to get to university.
Yeah.
Then you got that end game where you've got from the station downtown to get into UCSC.
Right.
For example.
Yes. Well, that's when you get those kind of last mile solutions, either Metro, the bus service. We're doing this Reimagine Metro thing right now, where it's going to have a lot more service to a lot more of the places that people go, like UCSC. In fact, they're going to see a huge increase in ridership frequency very soon. But then, in addition to Metro, there's the active transportation options, right? We've got the electric bike service that's in the city of Santa Cruz, in the county. It's going to come to Capitola, I want to say next year. It's a county-wide contract, so it's all going to be one fluid system.
To fix those bridges, the bridges are a mess.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of money. It's going to be a lot of money. But I mean, the RTC and Metro have both just been getting multi-million-dollar grants lately. Recently, we got one of the biggest active transportation grants ever in the country. And Metro is about to have the biggest hydrogen electric bus fleet in the I want to say in the country. I don't think it's in the state, it's in the country. So I mean, there's solutions, and it's about a network, right? It's a whole transportation network. It's not just the train, it's not just the buses, it's not just our active transportation uses, it's not just carpooling. It's a network of things together.
Okay, so you're going to start off your day with climate change. Where do you go from here with climate change in your district?
Yeah.
I mean, you're battling Mother Nature.
Yeah, right? Absolutely. So, I mean, the transportation aspect of it is a part of the climate change issue, right? Okay. Is getting people out of their cars, lowering their greenhouse gas emissions. But also the impacts of climate change are different depending on where you are in the district. So in the coastal areas of the district, you're going to be worried about flooding. You're going to be worried about saltwater intrusion into our drinking water. These are all climate change issues. Up in the mountains, kind of Corralitos area, you're going to be worried about wildfires. You're going to be worried if the roads that lead from your house down into, Highway 1 for evacuation routes, if they're safe and passable.
Okay.
So it's different kind of issues depending on where you're looking in the district. There's a lot of work to be done around solutions.
Have you talked to Zach and say, okay, Zach told you what the problems are he's faced or facing, and kind of give you some instructions or some help?
I mean, I've reached out to him to ask him, what's going on with this, what's going on with that. He has been, I've seen him speak in community events, neighborhood associations, and kind of small neighborhood groups, and he is just incredibly knowledgeable about so much of the district and the history of it. And I asked him the last time I spoke with him, how long did it take you to just feel like you could just pull all of this knowledge off the top of your head at any time? So, I mean, yes, we've spoken, and he's been helpful in that regard. But, I mean, he's, as far as I can tell, been incredibly helpful to anyone who has asked him for information at any time.
What's your day job right now?
I'm the Vice President of Government Relations for the Silicon Valley Leadership Group.
Okay.
It's a business organization.
Does that fit on your business card, by the way?
It's actually a longer.
The
title's actually longer. It's actually Vice President of Local and Regional Government Relations. So I specifically work with other council members, other boards of supervisors in the 9-county Bay Area, including Santa Cruz County being one of those counties.
Okay. So you're knee deep in government issues.
Yeah.
Knee deep in politics.
Yep.
You having any fun?
I love it.
You love it.
I love it. I mean, I started when I was 23, I guess I was, when I started as an intern in Congressman Sam Farr's office.
Yeah.
And then that turned into a full-time job, and I worked under Congressman Panetta for a little while as well. And I've never left the field.
What do you if you become supervisor, District 2, your legacy will be at the end of your term?
Yeah.
Let's say you do 2 terms.
Yeah.
What do you want your legacy to be as far as what you...
I want my legacy to be one about constituent responsiveness, that I was responsive to my constituents, that I heard what they needed, that they felt that they had a seat at the table and their voices were heard, and that I was addressing their issues.
Yep.
I would like to say that I was able to help address the housing crisis and increase the affordable housing stock.
Yeah.
And ultimately, I just want people to feel like I was making thoughtful and well-informed and considerate decisions for the district that kept our ship kind of sailing in the right direction.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Can you tell people who you are again?
My name's Kristen Brown. I'm the Vice Mayor in the City of Capitola and a candidate for District 2 in Santa Cruz County.
And how can people get a hold of you as far as if they want to donate money to your campaign or get a hold of you? Any questions? How do they get a hold of you?
Sure. You can check out my website. It's votekristenbrown.com. And you can also email me at info@votekristenbrown.com.
Thanks, Kristen.
Thank you.
I wish you the very, very best of luck.
Thank you.
Okay? Well, I'm sure we'll talk again. But thanks for the time today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.